Steve, you joined us yesterday on our 8-hour Transfer Portal Palooza show, and you just heard what Blair said. From your perspective, what you're seeing right now this year, how have you seen the transfer portal trickle in to the recruiting game?
Well, I think that for the powerhouse programs, it's going to be the portal is going to be a place where they come in and just try and supplement their program with a missing piece or two that they need to enhance their roster. But these schools are still trying to build the foundation of their program from grassroots high school recruiting ranks and get the majority of their players from the high school ranks. And hey, if we need a receiver because a couple players went early to the NFL, or maybe we misevaluated a couple guys, we can go into the portal and get a receiver or a DB for those reasons. But then there's new coaches that can completely flip their roster through the portal and maybe win 11 games like Mel Tucker did in his first season at Michigan State. And now you see him trying to build it up the right way through the high school recruiting ranks for the most part. Everybody's going into the portal, but I think for the most part, schools are still trying to build it up with high school rosters. Player development is the key.
Yes, this is very new, and so I think a lot of coaches are trying to figure out just that sweet spot right in the middle between bringing in recruits and bringing in guys in the transfer portal. Well, we are full steam ahead to early signing day. That is on December 21st, just 15 days away. And Steve, you're in Mobile, Alabama, the site of the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game. So who do you have your eyes on while you're down there?
Oh, man, I'm excited to see top 247 linebacker Suntarine Perkins. He's the number 3 linebacker in the nation per the 24/7 Sports Composite, currently committed to Ole Miss. He's going to head straight from here to Ole Miss for his official visit following the game on Saturday. But he told me he's not planning to sign early, going to take an official visit to Alabama in January. Pete Golding was over to see him yesterday, Alabama's defensive coordinator. And the Crimson Tide are very much in this recruitment, said that it is a toss-up between the two, and he goes back and forth. I saw one of the most explosive, high-motor defensive linemen in the country, Peter Woods, at Clemson, commit Emily and Blair today at check-in. He says he's locked in with Clemson, but Freddie Roach at Alabama still talking to him a lot. Deion Sanders in Colorado has reached out to him, 5-star composite defensive lineman. But Clemson is the program that he talks to the most. Keldrick Falk is another young man that I talked to at check-in today, and Kelby Collins also on the list. Keldrick Falk, longtime commitment to Florida State, but Hugh Freeze and Auburn working hard to try and flip that. Kelby Collins arrived decked out in Florida gear, but has not completely closed the door on Alabama. Talks to Freddie Roach a lot. That's a long-standing relationship. Said that Nick Saban's going to be in there on Monday as well to do an in-home visit. So a lot of the nation's best players here in Mobile this weekend, and there's still some recruiting storylines. Also picked up one on a young man that's not here from the state of Tennessee, but it applies to Alabama. Quarterback Marcel Reed, 4-star quarterback, longtime commit to Ole Miss guys. Hugh Freeze is going in home with Marcel tomorrow, and Texas A&M going in home with him on Thursday. Maybe Jimbo Fisher will be there. Damian Craig's going to be there. So those two programs trying to flip the longtime Ole Miss quarterback commit who threw for 27 touchdowns this year, ran for 15 more scores for Montgomery Bell Academy there in Tennessee, a heavily coveted quarterback here at the end of the cycle.
Yeah, a lot of movement, a lot of activity, Steve, with some of the new coaches in their new grounds trying to, I guess, integrate themselves into this recruiting cycle. And on that same topic, let's get into some recruiting intel on Malachi Coleman, the 4-star athlete, kicked off the month of December by decommitting from Nebraska, but he already had his in-home visit this past Friday with Matt Rhule. What can you tell us on the latest on Malachi Coleman?
Yeah, first day on the road, one of the first prospects Coach Rhule goes to see is the number 1 player in the state, Malachi Coleman. He's going to take his official visit to Lincoln this weekend, and he talked about how Coach Rhule wants to use him as a weapon, wants to develop him into one of the best receivers in the nation and help him get to the NFL. And he talked about Rhule's track record of building up programs, which he turned Temple into a conference title winner. He took Baylor to the Big 12 championship game, and so he talked about the trajectory of Nebraska's program being exciting. But he's going to take an official visit to Michigan on December 16th. He said he loves the coaching staff there, loves Coach Harbaugh, loves that they're a hard, disciplined football team. He said they've been doing amazing things. They have a good plan for him, and that's either on offense or defense. They haven't put a label on it. He just said he knows they're going to take care of him, so he's going to take that official visit. A lot of other schools trying to get in the mix. Oklahoma State won as well. He's going to play in the All-America Bowl on January 7th, Blair, so we'll get a chance to see him in San Antonio. Nebraska and Michigan Michigan, 2 schools in a good spot here at the end of his process.
All right, 4-star Cincy commit Day McCullough was visited by Oklahoma's safeties coach Brendan Hall yesterday. Steve, you actually put in a crystal ball for him to flip to the Sooners. What's the latest?
Well, obviously, with the turnover on the Cincinnati coaching staff, it's opened the door for other programs to come in here and make a move. And Oklahoma had been trying to chip away on Day McCullough for a while. And if Luke Fickell and company were still at Cincinnati, I don't think that there would be much traction. But the door is open wide with Coach Fickell going up to Wisconsin. And the family's got a lot of relationships with coaches at Oklahoma. His dad's the running backs coach at Notre Dame. Prior to that, he was at Indiana, where his older brother, Desan McCullough, signed with out of high school. And then before that, he was with the Kansas City Chiefs, where he worked with Jay Valai. Now, Desan McCullough, who's in the transfer portal right now, also trending towards Oklahoma, was recruited heavily by Brent Venables during his process. And they kind of have him pegged for playing that Isaiah Simmons role in Oklahoma's defense. So I like where the Sooners are trending with Desan McCullough, and also with Jay Valai and that coaching staff, the familiarity with them. In that defense and Brent Venables' track record. Brandon Hall going in the school yesterday has put Oklahoma in good position, and I think that the Sooners are ultimately going to add him to what is the nation's number 7 recruiting class right now, unless something changes here in the next couple of days, which, hey, we all know it's recruiting. It's crunch time.
We expect it to.
The information is not always the same the next day, but today I like OU.
Steve, on the topic of the crystal ball, I like to go behind the scenes on some of your predictions. Florida got a prediction from you recently for 4-star quarterback DJ Lagway, one of the top available prospects in the 2024 class. He's set to reveal his decision on Wednesday this week. What's the latest on DJ Lagway?
Well, he's making his college decision at 3:00 Central Time on Wednesday. And some schools that I think are very much in it down the stretch. You have Florida, you have USC, you have Clemson, Texas A&M, and Baylor. Those are all schools that he's given a strong look to and has relationships with those coaches. But I just really like Florida's position here down the stretch. The love that Coach Napier and his staff have shown him. No program has recruited Lagway harder and more consistently than Florida. The visits to campus, having the student section chant for him to play in the swamp, Lagway to the swamp. I think that really resonated with him. He has a good relationship with several staff members over there at Florida, including Ryan O'Hara. And I just think the trajectory of the program, the way that the coaches developed Anthony Richardson and coached him up during the season, I think is exciting. So I like where Florida stands. And what a way would be another big recruiting win for the Gators, coming off Jaden Rashada here in 2023. Then you come in behind him with another composite 5-star at the position, and DJ Lagway, who could also play baseball in college, has all the intangibles you're looking for, an elite leader. These are the type of guys that can help Florida get back to where they want to be in college football. So DJ Lagway, pivotal recruit for them tomorrow.
All right, Scott Satterfield with the Portal Day shocker, the former Louisville head coach, now the head man at Cincinnati. He leaves behind a top 20 class with the Cardinals. It includes a lot of top prospects. Where do those commits stand now amid the coaching change?
Well, Emily, we talked about it a little bit on the Portal Show yesterday. Reuben Owens, I talked to his dad yesterday morning, the number 1 running back in the country in the top 247 player rankings. He said they're staying patient and just waiting to see how things play out right now. And I talked to Jody Demling, our insider at Cardinal Authority, the publisher of the 24/7 Sports Louisville website, and he informed me that Louisville is trying to have a big recruiting weekend next weekend with all their commits. And here's the caveat: if you have your official visits still in play, you can take an official visit to the same school twice if there's a head coaching change. So all these Louisville commits that have maybe utilized their official visit once can come back again and visit Louisville and visit with the new coaching staff. So per Jody Demling, that's what they're trying to line up next week. We haven't had any defections from the Louisville class as of yet. Certainly DeAndre Moore is a guy that's been on flip watch, the top 247 receiver from California, even prior to this. You talk to sources around Louisville, they thought they're keeping him, but you talk to some other sources, they say keep an eye on Texas. He certainly enjoyed Georgia. So DeAndre Moore is still the one where I could see going either way. I'm giving the others more time. We'll see what happens here.
Steve, the belief now is that Jeff Brom is at the top of Louisville's hot board. What would he bring as a recruiter, and what would his impact be at Louisville if he was the guy?
Well, I think his impact would be pretty much the same as Scott Satterfield's. I think they bring the same personality type to the recruiting trail. If you're sitting in front of Coach Brom, he's awesome. He's a really good living room guy that's eloquent with his message about his program. I was talking with Josh Pate about this. Jeff Brom, he is considered one of the offensive masterminds in college football. He's not someone that goes on the road and learns about other people's offenses. People come to see him and talk offenses and play calling. So that's something that I think would be attractive and exciting, especially if you're an offensive player committed to this class like Ruben Owens or DeAndre Moore. But I think that he's someone that trusts his assistant coaches to get out there and get the job done.
Looking forward to seeing what happens with that Louisville job. Steve, thank you as always for all the great insight yesterday and again today. We know you're going to be on top of it until our signing day show. And Blair, I'm not sure how we could top last year's signing day stunner with Travis Hunter's flip, but it is gearing up to be another exciting event. We will be all over it, wall-to-wall coverage of National Signing Day. If you thought the Portal Palooza was fun, join us for our signing day show on December 21st, right here on the 24/7 Sports YouTube page.